Boom, we are live. Sorry about that. I had to reboot the computer at the last minute because of a USB connection thing, but we're here, we're live. We are in Hanami today. I went out to Shinjuku Gyoen today in Tokyo, and not everywhere, but there were a couple of trees that were like out blooming, so we are set for probably Hanami has come, well, so I guess here is the pitfall of setting the Hanami date a month, 2 months early, as we're always under pressure to do here. Tokyo Kuni, to his credit, he always pushed back against doing that, and he'd leave it to 1 or 2 weeks ahead, because you never know. And that's the right thing to do, because it's happening this week. It's probably going to be mostly over by the time the actual YouTube Hanami starts on April 2nd, but there'll still probably be a couple of trees around, and maybe it won't be so crowded. But the time is, as it turns out, it's going to be wrong, because what's been happening every year with global warming and all of that stuff, it's getting earlier and earlier, and it was forecast to start on the 29th, and then they got moved forward to the 24th and the 21st, but it actually happened today. Today's 20th it happened, so yeah, basically next weekend's probably going to be the best time. So if you're in Tokyo anyway, so if you're in Tokyo next weekend, go do some Hanami stuff, because that stuff is good, and yeah, it's going to be the right time, and you know, it's still going to be okay on the 2nd, because we're going to have lots of stuff to do. We're going to be there, I'm going to be there, everyone's going to be there. People are flying in from all over the place to come join. It's going to be good. You might have seen the 2.5 Oyajis show last night, where we talked with Hikosaemon, who is going to be the guy who's going to go and grab the spot, and he has taken responsibility for taking the torch of Kuni, who was the guy who originally started the Hanami, even before I started, I think going back to like 2006 or 2007. So yeah, thanks again to Hikosaemon for taking over the organization. There is going to be an awesome Hanami promotion video coming out involving Phoenix 787, who is already in the comments and active and so on at the moment. He's going to be featuring, and well, that reminds me, I recorded a clip for it myself, which I will be sending in tonight. So yeah, look out for that video. It's coming on Wednesday. It's going to be really good, and it's going to be a huge event. I've got swag for the event. I've got swag all the time, but you know, we'll get to that. But yes, it's going to be awesome. Hopefully going to see a lot of you guys there. Just be very careful, of course, that oh, by the way, sorry Globby that you couldn't find the link. I'm glad that you found it through Twitter, and this is why you should all follow me on Twitter. All the stuff which I talk about on the show I tweet anyway during the week, and if that's too much, you know, even Facebook, as you know, I share with everybody. So yeah, and actually I might just tweet out the link now, just because I had to reboot. I didn't have time to actually tweet the link that I am actually now live, although you should know that by now. Wow, there's lots of people. Edward Van Halen. Wow, that's I'm privileged. It's good to have Eddie Van Halen here. Okay, everyone, now live. Come join me. Boom. Boom. Gotta put a boom on there. Flowers galore on the thumbnail things on all the topics. And yeah, Baka-san, just I don't mean that. That's just what your name says. Please listen to it in the background. That's what this is good for. And Frederick, it's too far away from. It's nothing from Switzerland. If you just dig a hole, and well, no, that would go through the wrong country, but that could take you pretty close to New Zealand, actually. Never mind. Well, you can be with us in spirit. I wish we could live stream from the Hanami, but previous year's experience has taught us that, you know, Yoyogi Park is like one of the premier party spots in Tokyo for Hanami, and there are 200,000 or 300,000 people in the park, all with mobile phones, all working at the same time, and it just means that none of the mobile phones work during the Hanami. So yeah, don't rely on finding the spot with your iPhone, because you're not going to get any data reception or going to be able to call anyone. The connectivity is going to be terrible. So get ready for that. Oh, Bai is commenting on my link to the show. You can't. That's right. Can't touch. Boom. Hit that one by accident, but there we go. It's a good thing. So yeah, the flowers are there already, so just go outside and look. That obviously happens different times in different parts of Japan. It happens a bit later in Western Japan than Eastern Japan, because Tokyo's just got like the best weather in the main part of the archipelago, actually. That's why they moved the capital here. I hope you guys are all well. Yeah, I'm a bit disorganized and I don't have a music track lined up. I might jam something at the end of this if I have time, but let's say hello. Let's see who's here. So I think I saw in the beginning, wow, the comments have already clocked through, because I saw Mr. Cordy Chep and I saw Raz Al Ghul in the beginning and a few other people, but then I had to zoom out, so I'm back now. There's Megan Conrad, it's awesome, and yes, of course, I will be at the Hanami this year if you're talking to me, and I'm hoping that you're going to be there too. I see Wikipedia is going to be there. I can't wait to see Wikipedia. I just realized, like, in the middle, that the way that's cut out with the magazine, it's like that. Well, no, that those people are looking at the camera person like, screw you, dude. But because of that, they're looking at me like that. I find that very disconcerting. I'm gonna flip that because I'm feeling disconcerted by that person looking at me like that. Mother got some sun today. I'm a bit of a mess, actually. I should have shaved, but meh. Who cares? So what do we got? We got Mata Gaijinka, we got Gabrielle. Oh, by the way, I'm going to just save some bandwidth by pausing myself there. Yeah, she's kind of freaking me out the way that she's looking at. I can still see on the video there. Anyway, so I've changed that now. Who else we got here? We got Frederick Koenig, indeed, who cannot make it from Switzerland. I believe you just said. Rene Hartman, awesome to see you. Nippon Culture Quest, great to see you every week. Who else we got here? We got Barringer, good to see you. Good time of day indeed. Raz Al Ghul, I caught him earlier, so that's cool. Who else we got? And you say hello if you're watching, by the way. Even if you're just doing nothing, just go to the computer, just say hi, just so I can just see who's there, just because it's nice to say hello to everybody. I like to do that. It's part of the tradition on the show. We got Robert 1967 Canada, awesome to see you, sir. I love the game comments format. Kimiko L, hey, kia ora, good to see Kiwi as always. Eddie Van Halen, of course, I mentioned before. Who else we got here? We got Chris Robinson. Good to see you indeed. Yes, I did have to reboot the PC. It was a bit of a pain, but not a big problem. Sean Bro, good to see you, Sean Bro. My Lung Puppy, awesome to see you. Who else we got in here? We got El Camado. Thank you for joining El Camado. So you did the like earlier as well. Thank you for the like. Really appreciate that. It's nice to see those flash up on Twitter. Herb Toka, awesome to see you. I hope I'm not skipping people because I'm kind of going through this at high speed at the moment. We've got Coopertown Productions, so Tai Nakamura, good morning to you in Flint. Indeed, good morning. Thank you for waking up, by the way. Who else we got here? We got there is Hemingford Grey 62, good to see you, from Milton Keynes, indeed. And it's been a lovely day here in Tokyo today. It's been like 20 degrees, and indeed, hurry up and boom. I boomed already. Icarus 18, awesome to see you as always. Nicholas Rapp, good to see you, and that you kind of made it. Hey, yeah, just make it. It doesn't matter how you make it here. Just make it here. Kit Crawford, good to see you. Welcome. Or Globby, that's right. Glad that you found it. Global warming is a conspiracy perpetuated by China. It's true. It's sad, but it's true. Probably not. But I saw that thing of Zuckerberg jogging around Tiananmen Square. Although, yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty cool that a person as rich as him, is actually jogging around Tiananmen Square without a face mask in the face of hazardous pollution. A guy like him, he could probably afford to drive a tank and just run people. No, I'm sorry, I'm not going to say that. That's inappropriate. But yes, indeed, it was, he's got enough money, I guess he can fix whatever happens. Sup, Sunny, I always say Sunny, because that's the way I read it, but your katakana says Sonai, so I'm going to say Sonai, but sup indeed. You come into the Hanami, dude, because we're going to have a dance competition, and yes, we're going to get to that. Julie Ghazali, that's right, we're going to have dance, rap, karaoke, all in one go. I mean, that's pretty much what I do for a living, actually. I let a secret out there. I am a dancer / rapper / singer. Strictly, amateur, but professional in spirit. Who else we got here? We got swag, and indeed, I will be bringing the swag. I got the swag right beside me here, and I will be showing it to you. I flashed a little bit of it on the there's Google stuff on 2.5 Oyajis last night. Man, that was rowdy. That was TQ Sam, so of course that was going to be rowdy. You always knew that was going to happen. Folkhart, thank you for all those likes jamming in there. Appreciate that. Remember Tokyo Digital Crew, who is in Tokyo this week, and that's right, I'm going to be catching up with you and probably making a video of some sort. We'll figure that one out. And yeah, Ben Duncan, if you're in there, by the way, we got Folkhart in town, so yeah, we got to meet up with him. And am I caught up? Pickles de Gaijin, welcome. Kantensai konbanwa, hisashiburi desu. And I actually have to go and make a Japanese video. That's right, he actually reminded me of that. Ron Anderson, I will be accepting that friend request, provided that you're not some sort of bot, spam, horrible person. Yes, that will be coming. Oh, little one coming soon. Well, that's more awesome, and you do that, and you teach him how to, or her how to dance. But yes, good to see you. Konbanwa. I've been meaning to make Japanese videos again. I haven't been getting around to it. I've been talking about it to Hikosaemon last night. He kind of gave me some crap about it again, and yeah, I think I need to undertake that, because it's not a lot of time. It's just I don't have a lot of time. That's the problem. Hope Toka, I saw that there was a video saying that she's getting married, so I guess she is. I hadn't heard any other way than just seeing that being announced on Twitter. But I guess it is, and congrats to her. I have been privy to some information that she's got a pretty decent dude. So if they're making it respectable, like good on them, and all the best for that. It'll be really interesting to find out what happens if they do like a Megwin and Amanda did a YouTube wedding, or they in the YouTube space they did a party there, which was pretty awesome. By the way, Alvin Ing, great to see you, and Andre, indeed, good to see you back as well. So here we go. Okay, let's get into the topics. I just picked these randomly like 20 minutes before the show started. So, hey, my long puppy. Well, sorry. Now I know your personal. But yes, I will be accepting that. So awesome. Thank you for that, my long puppy. And that's right. No, seriously, my Facebook is a little bit less busy than my Twitter. So. But I put all the information for the shows and stuff that I make and stuff that's going on, stuff like the Hanami party, all that stuff is on Twitter. So, yeah, definitely it's worth. And by the way, one thing I don't have in my topics for tonight that maybe I'll start with. I've shown you a couple of times now. I've tried to get mobile YouTube Hangout going with my iPhone, and, it still doesn't work. I mean, Ustream works. A bunch of services work with live video streaming, Periscope, all of those, they work, and for some reason YouTube still can't do it. I know part of the reason is they don't want to do it. They're afraid of all the YouTube users having access to live mobile video, and I do get that, but at the same time, well, so apparently the feature is now rolled out on Facebook, and I was talking with Ben Westler this week when he was doing a few test live broadcasts on Facebook, and it works great. It works just like, it's crazy that YouTube still doesn't have it available on iPhones the way that now even Facebook does. And you know what? I'm going to use it. I'm going to be like using the live feed. Joe, there's Phoenix787. Good to see you, sir. Good luck with the dying thing, Phoenix. I hope that's video production dramatic and not actually like a health recording. Oh, the television shoot. Oh, you're like a TV star. Well, that's awesome. Hey, Trabius, good to see you, and indeed haven't seen you for months, so good to have you back, and welcome. So yeah, what was I saying? I've lost my train of thought. There's the old Garfield comic where he has the fear of letting his mind wander because he worries that it might not come back. And I have a similar fear, I do. Yeah, never mind. Oh yeah, that's a live streaming on Facebook. It's interesting, and you know what? I think I'm going to use it, and I thought it'd be a great way to do like Japanese stuff if I want to do that. I don't know, but anyway, get your act together, YouTube. That's what I want to say. Baka-san, watashi mo nihongo no video ga suki desu yo. Yes, and that's right. And actually, I've noticed people even saying that they don't even know that I speak Japanese. I speak Japanese most of my day. So I should do that. So in Candice TV, awesome to see you. Welcome. Good to have you. You came just in time for the start of the official celebrations of the actual topic. So this is the first one. This is a really nice little guide here. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. On the Japanese shake scale, and you should remember this. I've said this before, but I think the Japanese shake scale is brilliant, and everyone should actually use it. I'd like to promote it overseas because I get pissed off when I hear that there's an earthquake in New Zealand, and people leave comments. Hey Lara M Muzio, great to see you, welcome, and Alpha K, also good to see you. Boom. I get pissed off when I hear about earthquake news from New Zealand, and they say, well, my cat was startled, or my book fell off the shelf, or something. You need a proper scale, and this is like a subjective scale. And Japanese are really good at making scales. They made the Fujita scale for tornadoes that they talk about in the movie Tornado, and they have this fantastic shake scale for the shake, the Shindo scale, and this is it. 0 is, you can see the baby just clearly does not give a shit. You know, everyone's rocking that. They're actually happy. They're actually happy that there's a 0. Nothing happening there. 1. What's that? The baby didn't notice, but the mum's like, that's a bit odd. Was that a truck going by? Was that is there something going on here? Nowhere Man. Yes. Shindo 2 is like, oh, there's a tremor. It's a tremor. You might not notice. You might notice that even the baby is noticing at that point. There's a bit of a rattling of the cups there on the table. Oh, that's a quake. But you know, that is it. What do you got for 3? 3 is a normal tremor, I would say, and it's something that you probably would not miss, or at the same time wouldn't really be dangerous. I wouldn't find 3 scary, but it's a noticeable shake. Stuff shaking in the room. You hear noises. You hear the doors banging, stuff like that. 4 is when it starts to get scary, and indeed that's when you start to think about, do I have to get under the table? Do I have to duck? Or do something like that, and that's when you'd start to hear more sort of real noise and think, oh, is this going to get really big? So 4 is where it starts to get scary. 5 is where it starts, and that means lower 5, a weak 5. There's a strong 5 and a weak 5. A weak 5 is, yeah, you'll start to get some stuff like falling over. You see the vase there has fallen over, and some plates might tip off. You know, nothing too major, but you might actually start to get some stuff happening there, like, you know, minor stuff. 5 on an old house, and a strong 5 on an old house. You get minor damage. There's some sort of foundation cracks and stuff like that. That wouldn't happen with most houses in Tokyo, but yeah, you get a strong 5 is what the 311 quake was in Tokyo. You know, and there were a couple of old buildings that did collapse and kill people in Tokyo. But for the size of the city, it was remarkable actually how little was damaged. Mostly the liquefaction issue. A lower 6 is where you'd start to see damage even on earthquake-proof buildings. Let me zoom that in again, and you can see the sort of cracks there, and even the salaryman outside is getting a bit freaked out. 6 strong would damage even earthquake-proof buildings. That's where you start to see, like, you know, big buildings starting to get cracked, and power lines in danger. And 7 is just like screwed up. And 311 was a 7 in parts of Miyagi. Although, you know, and after this they got hit by this enormous tsunami as well. So, you know, 7 would basically just ruin your whole day. Not even the Kobe quake was a 7, I think. It's pretty rare, actually. So, yes, indeed. Yes, that's right. A 4, if you can panic, 4 is enough to make you panic, which would make a good viral video. And everything above that, yes, you have to freak out properly, but yes, you could definitely get a viral video out of that. This is an interesting one. People, hey, Anthony Wolf, great to see you there. Welcome to the show. It's very good to see Nippon Culture Quest talking about everything trying to kill you. I assume you're talking about Australia, because in Australia, I'm a New Zealander and I've lived in Australia, and yes, everything in Australia is always just trying to kill you. That's the way every New Zealander interprets. Speaking of New Zealander, Wildfire777, good to see you. And Shindo 3s are pretty small. Well, they're not small. A Shindo 3 is a tremor. So when I lived in Waiyuru for 3 years, we had a couple of Shindo 3s. I'm not sure, maybe we had one Shindo 4, like actually caused damage at the local supermarket. That would be a Shindo 4. But yeah, I mean, you know, Waiyuru, the shittiest town in New Zealand, where I lived for 3 years, is also one of the most active for earthquakes. So I was there, and we had all that stuff. Aphex, good to see you indeed. And I remember my first earthquake. I just moved from Australia back to New Zealand into Waiyuru, and it was like the first week we had a tremor, and it was probably about a 3. And I was so excited by it. But yes, 4 is when it's not fun anymore. Hey, Dankeschön, right back at you, Anthony. Good to have you along. Well, but this is the thing. So, like, for example, Nicholas, like you're saying, there's a 4.2 in Sweden, but, you know, 4.2 doesn't mean anything. It could be, like, under the ocean. It could be, like, 1,000 kilometers down. It could be, or it could be right by the surface, and you could be knocking buildings over. So a 4.2 is, like I say, it's just how big the bomb is. It's got nothing to do with the shaking. The Japanese have the shake your booty scale, and that's what everyone should be using. Brascofarian, awesome to see you, sir, Brasco. But yes, you can't help but become an expert in quakes when you're experiencing them all the time. And I do get excited by the vibrations. I'm always vibing. You know me. So anyway, a lot of talk about tattoos, and we will be talking about tattoos today. Don't worry about that. But there is actually another thing. There, you can see me. I grew out a beard pretty quick. You know, this is like just a weekend not shaving. So 1.5 days not shaving. And I can grow into a full beard, and it's actually kind of cool. When it comes out, it's actually I got a red beard, which is cool. Blonde people grow out red beards, and I grew it out at college. Actually, I had a goatee the whole time. In Japan, however, there are still it's kind of traditional. During the Edo period, as well as banning the use of swords and all these other things, there was a ban on facial hair. There's a ban on anything that could be used to sort of make someone appear more masculine or more tough or kind of intimidate people. And they actually went so far as to ban beards as being intimidating or something that people would try to outdo each other for manliness with. And this is a ban that was enforced by the state, in Japan for a long time. And there is a legacy of that, where there is an association of beards being kind of rebellious to have beards, and in proper professions like working at a bank, for example, or working in a public service. There are actually rules, official and unofficial, that you can't grow out beards. There was never a rule when I was working in a financial institution, a subsidiary of an insurance company. Okay. Okay, this should be coming back now. I accidentally kicked the power button on my PC and I forced it to reboot. That is awkward. That is awkward. Did not mean to do that. That was a mistake, wasn't it? Sorry about that. Boom, I'm back. I am back. And I am black. I'm not, actually. I'm not, but it rhymes. And damn it. That's okay. It's okay. So I was talking about shaving. So the thing is that you talk about tattoo discrimination in Japan. People talk about that a lot. It's good to be back. Thank you for welcoming. Yes. Oh no, believe me. Hey Vero-chan, good to see you. If honestly, if I'm not having enough technical problems, I'll just do them myself. I will just kick the power button on the PC just to make it more interesting. So you see, that's what I do. So yes, where was I? The beard thing. So the beard thing, apparently, although there was no rule at the company that I was working at that you can't have a beard, I went away for New Year's and I didn't shave for a couple of weeks. So I came back with a pretty decent beard, so I thought I'd just leave it there for a while. And immediately the office lady next to me was like in a rage and saying, just because you're a Gaijin, you think you can get away with having a beard. And I was like, well, I don't think there's any rule against it, although I was the only person in the whole company of 120 people that at that time had a beard. And probably, not many Japanese can fully grow it. That's another problem that they have. It can cause friction, and I didn't get a warning about it from my boss, but I got a pretty rough earful from the office ladies about it, which was stupid. I've grown out beards a couple of times since I've started working, but I generally don't make that much of a deal about it. But there is definitely a kind of a thing that it's borderline whether it's okay to do. And I've actually been, when hiring in the current company that I'm at, I've gotten into an argument with a Japanese boss over a great candidate who the boss did not want to hire because he had a beard, and he thought it made him look like he might be just a bit dodgy, a bit rebellious, a bit on the edge. And I'm like, well, partly that makes him better if you ask me, and two, it shouldn't matter in the first place and you're being ridiculous. And we ended up hiring the guy, and he ended up being awesome. But this is the thing, it's kind of a thing. Well, it turns out and was this in Osaka? Now that I think about it, was this in Osaka? It's funny because if it is, it'd be hilarious because they had the tattoo thing there as well. Let's have a look. That's right, Osaka government. So here you go. Two drivers are seeking damages from the Osaka government for mental anguish they suffered after the city reduced their bonuses because they refused to shave off their beards. I guess what's his face? Hashimoto, when he was done looking for all the people with tattoos in Osaka, he started cutting the bonuses of people with beards. Is it really discrimination given that having a beard is a choice, that you can shave it off? I mean, they make the point there it's impeding their individual freedom, but like choosing their clothes or hairstyles. But there again, when you're in a lot of jobs, they do dictate you have to have a finely trimmed hair or whatever. And they have to wear uniforms a lot of the time if they are in these sort of companies. So it's an interesting debate. Is it really discrimination to have a rule against? Oh, and we've actually got the thing here. So so this is even connected to the crackdown on tattoos. By the way, I do strongly recommend Justin McCurry, he's very good to follow on Twitter, partly because he writes. The Guardian has been awesome since he has been writing for it from Tokyo. I think the Guardian now has some of the best Japan coverage that you can find, and I follow this guy on Twitter just to catch his articles, and they're all good, and this guy is doing it here. But anyway, they're actually suing Osaka now. After they were done with the tattoo flap, now they're suing them for beard discrimination. Can you really have beard discrimination? It's interesting. And that's right. Blonde hair, red beard. That's people who are blonde seem to know. That's right. We are like rainbows. We have different coloured hair all over. Check it out. I got a lot of white hair there. That really freaked out Grace from Texan in Tokyo. She does not like body hair, and my wife doesn't either. But yes, that's what I got. So yes, it's kind of interesting. And that's right. I guess some people can't have them. Is it quite biased? I mean, I like I said, I don't read it for anything else. It's quite left wing, if I recall. Is that right? But in any case, the Japan reporting is actually quite good quality now, and I'd recommend it for that. I used to be blonde. I was ash blonde. You can see. Well, it's actually getting a bit greyish now, but I don't really have any colour. But when I was a kid, I had like white hair, I was like a natural platinum blonde kid. Now in Japan, well, I don't know. I mean, I guess some do. But yes, for me, it all just migrated to the wrong places after I got to Japan. I had no chest hair when I got to Japan, but when I was in Japan, but when I got here, it all, boom, just full gorilla. Some people like that. That's cool. Anyway, on to the next subject. I keep coming back to this. What I'm excited about with Oculus Rift and all these virtual reality things, which are now booting up, is just having like a bunch of screens all around me. I don't know if I'll be able to do something with the live show around that, but yes, this is what's going to be cool. And they've actually pointed out with some virtual reality games, you do need a screen because you need to go in for the settings and the boot up and all that sort of stuff. But they've actually pointed out you can actually create virtual screens within the games and so on that you can do for that sort of purpose. But you can actually just have crazy screens everywhere. I like this, and that's why I put that in there. I made a track this week, Haru Ichiban. Haru Ichiban is the first rush of humid, hot air. It hits Japan. It's basically when the Siberian, we have these high pressure systems all winter that start in Siberia. They push out over Japan, and they give Japan these fantastic winters, at least on the east coast, because the west coast is all crap, because all the wind is getting blown across the Sea of Japan, and it's causing all of this rain and snow in Niigata and on the west coast of Japan, which causes them to have heaps of snow and all that sort of stuff. But on the east coast, because all the mountains are in the way, it's just sunny and dry and still all winter, and it's fantastic. But summer, the weather pattern completely changes, where all the weather comes up from the Philippines, from the south, and it's all very humid. And Haru Ichiban is the time of the year that the wind switches, which happened about a month ago now, from the dry Siberian high pressure to the very, very humid subtropical sort of Philippine weather that comes in spring in Japan is terrible, because it's just a mix of back and forth of weather going crazy while it's trying to decide, is it summer yet or is it winter yet. When it first goes over Japan, you get basically like a typhoon that just sweeps up the country, and it's humid. It's always like mid-20s, and it's like hurricane force winds that go up the country. But it does signal it's the end of winter, and it is the time of the seasons changing. And it was around the time that I was making that. It was kind of a subject. I made this track, which I called Haru Ichiban. It's quite a good track. It's based on the track which I did on the outro last week. And it came out pretty well, actually. So go have a listen. I actually made it very, very long, so it's good. The comments are disturbing me. I'm going to not get distracted by those. I'm going to keep going, charging forward. But yes, indeed, we got some pretty good. I got a good track out of that thing last week, so you can go check. It's like 9 minutes long, but it's a nice background track. I like how the song came out. Oh, and Candice TV used it in a video. I gotta go check that out. I've had the craziest week, and I haven't been tracking who's been using my music at all. But thank you for doing that. I love that. Yes, nice blog here. I mean, Texan in Tokyo, I've said it before, I'm a big fan, and she also writes fantastic blogs, like which she puts in her book. I mean, my favorite part of her book is her blogs. And so some things here, 10 things that you should think about before marrying someone from a foreign country. I would say different country, not necessarily, well, a foreign is what you get used to in Japan anyway. Cultural differences are super important, and she talks about this a lot. This is what her books are about, and you know, for me, what I do with Japan Business Zone with Rochelle Kopp. By the way, Rochelle Kopp is going to be at the Hanami. We're both going to be there. You can hang out with both of us and talk about all this cultural stuff. That is very, very true. I definitely agree with that. Let's get through. She's got good examples with all the stuff. That's 3, so I missed 2. Where's 2? Boom, 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 boom. 2. But a lot of things have to do with your partner's character, not their culture. Well, that's true also. And there is this thing as well. I mean, there was the classical, I think there were these stereotypes of people in Japanese class, and there was this is pre-weeaboo age, but there was the anime fan, and there was the martial arts fan, and there was the person who, with a Japanese girlfriend, and based on having that Japanese girlfriend, would dictate in class everything as being right or wrong based on what their girlfriend thinks, and that is definitely not the right way to go about it. So that is also a good thing, just to remember that maybe your partner is just weird. You know, it's a possibility. Depending, you never know. You know, you do find this out. Number 3, are you willing to learn your partner's language? Well, that's part. Sometimes it's the reason that you do it. But research visas extensively, yes, indeed, because in Japan you got to be here a while before you can get a marital visa, and the paperwork is a pain, and that is a good tip. So 5, understand how often or little you'll see their family. Another big one, especially in Japan, is varies from place to place and family to family, but particularly rural families, they will sometimes expect you to be like the live-in slave. No joking. Especially if you marry the eldest son of a Japanese family, you are famously shit out of luck. And you know, this is where I am the eldest son, but I'm not Japanese, and that's a big advantage actually on the dating market, because it's really hard for eldest sons to marry, because they're supposed to look after the parents of the dude, and that cannot be fun. So yes, you want to check out family dynamics and cultural dynamics around that. Number 6, get your family on board before the wedding. Yeah, that's definitely a good idea, because again, maybe culture comes into it as well. But yes, parents worried about sealing the child away to another country, and the other thing about worried about being able to talk with the grandchildren is another big thing. Talk about finances. Yes, I'd say that's pretty important. That's true. And food. Food is definitely important. Check that stuff out. Number 9, live in both countries before tying the knot. Well, that's not always possible, although it is a good idea. And I always had it as a condition that I wanted to marry someone who has lived in other countries, or I thought could. You just want to have options. At the end of the day, I'm not sure that I actually chose someone who, it was a kind of a criteria I had that I ended up casting aside when I got married, and I'm not sure if my wife could live actually outside of Japan. But yes, it's a good. I agree that is actually a good criteria to have, and it's a good thing to check. And recognize that one of yours have home court advantage. Well, I conceded that, because I've been here for 17 years this week. By the way, the 23rd this week. So what is that? That's like Wednesday. That's going to be my 17th anniversary in Japan. So I'll probably do a special video for that, looking back on what's happened in 17 years. Man, I looked at the comments at the wrong time, Mr. Cordychep. Seriously, what is going on with you guys? I'm ignoring. I'm going back. The other thing which I would also point out, particularly with Japan, I know that when people get married, well, some people get married because they want to have babies like right away, as soon as possible, but most people I know generally aren't immediately focused on babies when they get married. But check out the family law, because with Japan in particular, the family law is skewed not so much against foreigners. There's a little bit of that, but it's mostly skewed against fathers. There is no concept of if it doesn't work out, which something like 50% of international marriages in Japan don't work out. There's no joint custody. There's no concept of joint custody or access or visitation of kids. And the cultural practice in Japan is that if you break up with someone, break up or divorce or whatever, you're dead, and they get the kids. So that is something to bear in mind. It's actually the consequences can be pretty harsh and heavy, and and I won't go into all of it, but there are a lot of things that go on around international marriages around Japan involving broken marriages, and the consequences are pretty rough. I mean, it's definitely rougher, I think, in Japan when it doesn't work out, which there's a 50% chance of that happening. I would say, than in America or New Zealand, for example. So definitely check out all that good stuff. And Grace is she's just very smart and very articulate. So go and read it. It's good stuff to know. I find this one fascinating. I was reading this week that YouTube was first conceived of as a dating site using video. And you know what? I still come back to this. YouTube. There was someone asking the other day, is YouTube a social site or is it a video site? And of course, it's kind of both. But I would say in its roots, the original YouTube, pre-Google YouTube, was no question. It was actually more a social site in my mind than a video site. I use Google Video rather than YouTube because YouTube, the video quality was fixed on 320p. It was crap. And there were all these limitations and stuff, and I found Google Video, no limitations, higher quality, scalable video, all this. It was a better video site, and I wanted to just put up family videos and stuff on there for storage, like photos. I never occurred to me to actually make videos of myself like this, and it wasn't until actually probably after Google purchased YouTube, and they inherited this very, very social, very chaotic, like 4chan, Nichan type site. And they didn't know what to do with it, you know. And I remember talking with some people who work at Google who were like, "Oh, we have to get rid of the comments." They didn't realize. I was like, "Dude, you are killing the goose that lays the golden egg." It's fundamentally, YouTube is fundamentally a social site, as you in the comments there are showing right now. It's about the comments. For me, everything is about the comments. And so it's kind of funny, and this is why you had video responses, this is why you had these conversations and all this sort of stuff, and the whole way that, you know, Gimmeabreakman got into YouTube was not dating, but, you know, as a communication, as a social video making site, you know, and making videos that came out of that. That's kind of funny. I've never felt like Google's fully gotten a full handle on that. I mean, they've tried to change it, and then they've tried to, well, maybe that was a good idea, and they've kind of gone back the other way and back and forth, and they're a little bit, they're almost like they're embarrassed about the social side of it when they are like advertising it to big companies, and internally I think a lot of them aren't comfortable with it, but they bought a bigger social site than Facebook, and they own it, and they just didn't know what to do with it. But I never had any idea that it was actually conceived of as a dating site, and it's fascinating just to read this interview with Steve Chen, one of the founders of YouTube, on what they were originally thinking, what the original thought process around YouTube was. But I think they deserved. I mean, this is probably why it came out so awesome, actually. So I think it's pretty cool. And I think you need to be in the United States to subscribe to YouTube Red. I would, as soon as it comes out here. I'm looking forward to doing that, but I don't do that yet. So this is interesting. There's been this Kickstarter thing, a big topic going around about this queer documentary, LGBT documentary, whatever the current. There's something now that's like LGBTQ or something, or, you know, they keep adding things on. But anyway, there is this video that is being group funded on gay culture in Japan, which I think is just interesting, and it's awesome. I mean, it's kind of there, and I know gay people in Japan and so on, but at the same time, it's kind of a closed, it's not, I wouldn't say secretive, but it's its own thing, and, you know, you have to be in it to really understand it. And although, you know, we know people go off to Nichome, but again, when we talked with Atomic Boy X or Ren or it's going to come back to me, but when we talk with people who are familiar with gay culture in Japan, they all say, actually, no, Nichan's kind of old-fashioned. People used to go to Nichan because they didn't have the internet, but now they have the internet, you know, they don't have to go there. Hey, Azuki Island, good to see you. Yeah, but there is this whole thing. There are these customs and rules and codes of behavior and all this sort of stuff, and Japan actually has, you know, a you could say, queer or gay culture that long predates, like, Western influence. You know, it's got its own sort of distinct thing, and it's kind of funny. I mean, there's none of the religious prejudice that you have with Christianity against it, which I think makes the whole dynamics here very, very different and interesting. You know, so I think that's great that these people are trying to fund a documentary, and I hope they really go for it. But it's kind of funny. The main comment I heard from gay people about this, Amodolfu, thank you. The main thing that I heard against this was they are using kind of stereotypical, you know, loud, you know, what would you call it, kind of flamboyant gay characters rather than normal people, at least in the promotion materials for this. And there are some people saying, oh, I hope they don't do that because that's not real. I mean, that's just like TV gay, not real. And indeed, I hope that if they're going to do it, that they do it right. But yeah, it's interesting. They got their funding, so it looks like this is going to come out, and it's going to be really interesting to see what they do. So congrats on that. This is in Japanese. This is the stupidity of the world. In Japan, the first country to broadcast 4K video, they got it formalized that it's going to be broadcasting, but they're currently trying to agree on the technical standards. And it appears that, again, as is always the case, every time this comes out, when you first had digital TV and all this sort of stuff, and they were worried that you could make perfect high-resolution copies of short TV shows that are being broadcast, they would force video recorders to limit the degree of recording, or to make the quality worse or whatever. Here we go. 4K TV, the standard being agreed for 4K TV will prohibit any recording. You won't be able to use your DVR for TV that's broadcast in 4K. So why on earth would you want to buy a 4K recorder or a 4K receiver, or buy a 4K TV if the content providers have actually agreed to a standard which will actually make recording of 4K TV, will actually block recording? It won't be possible. And exactly, the comments here, these are YouTube comments, so you see no one's going to watch it. Minai kara skinny shinasai. They say, hey, well, I'm not going to watch it, so just do what you knock yourselves out, do what you like. Hey, that is the end of 4K. It's never going to spread. This is just going to, they've just decided they're going to have it stillborn because nobody's going to want it based on this. And this is where, again, this is where the domestic content, and this person saying the domestic content industry is just going to get destroyed by overseas content because of this. They're committing suicide. Interesting comment there by Aski Island. So this is going back to what I was just talking about before, but down the bottom there, indeed, Japanese TV's all gays are queer bias has a bad effect on people's understanding of LGBT. Yeah, it does. Well, that's the point that I was making before, actually. So yeah, so it's kind of funny. The people, basically, Nichan is declaring this stillborn, and I agree. Why in the hell would I ever want to buy a 4K TV? And I've seen 4K TVs, and it's impressive that they're high resolution, but they always look a little bit too sharp and weird, and the movement looks a little bit off. But that combined with the fact that that's right, and of course you could do that anyway, but the fact that they're building in, basically copyright protection, digital protection into the standard to try to make it unreportable is just like, well, screw you guys right back, right? So that's right. So, and by the way, this isn't downloading, this is TV, this is like over-the-air broadcasting, but it's going to be dead anyway, and so yes, that's a bit depressing. There's been Japan Times article this week. There's been 2 or 3 stories on this that have happened. There was, back in June last year, the tourism agency, well, let's go back to the beginning. The tourism agency has been making a lot of surveys. They're trying to figure out how to get from 13 million to 20 million tourists in Japan by the time the Olympics start. So they're going crazy with surveys and gathering feedback. And I've been amazed myself at how well it's been going. They've been getting all this free Wi-Fi rolled out. They've been improving signs and information and doing a lot of stuff to make Japan super tourist friendly, which I could never have imagined would have happened. The tourism agency, as part of the feedback that they were getting, was more and more foreign tourists who are visiting Japan, particularly from Western countries, now have like fashion tattoos, and they're very bothered by the tattoo restrictions, and so they want more information on places that are tattoo friendly, or they want places to be more accepting of them when it's ridiculous that they'd be banning foreign tourists anyway. So the tourism agency took all this feedback from the tourists, and they actually did a survey of all these onsens in Japan. There's a pretty low response rate, but of the 1,000 or so places that responded, 56% of the places that responded said that they have a ban on all people with tattoos. And so the tourism agency, which is trying to encourage people to be a bit more open and accessible to tourists, did a follow-up survey in November, where they asked, would you consider, and they actually they asked onsens, and they also did a public survey asking, would you consider allowing an exception to the tattoo rule for tourists who clearly aren't the target of this ban? And 60% of the public responded, no, we don't want foreigners to get special privileges even if they're tourists. So that was kind of funny. It actually backfired, and actually most of the public is of the mind that if we have to put up with it, tourists have to put up with it too, and that they should respect the culture. And so apparently now the third step has just happened. The tourism agency, in spite of getting pushed back, is now not compelling, but they're officially asking they're asking onsens now to go easy on the enforcing tattoo rules for tourism, which of course makes complete sense. The only thing, and I guess it would benefit expats in Japan as well, because again, whenever I am shooting video in public and feeling self-conscious or doing something like that, I just, well, I'm a tourist. I just say that to myself, and then I feel better that I can get away with it. I get the gaijin pass, the diplomatic immunity that comes with looking different. But yes, it looks like the government's actually officially now. The Abe government is pushing and supporting acceptance of foreigners with tattoos. Who would have guessed, right? So there you go. Interesting news, and it'll be interesting to see if it gets any traction. Another thing, while we're on the subject of tourism, so there's actually another survey that was being done again by the tourist agency on things that tourists complain most about, the things that they still feel are most lacking that Japan needs to improve. And the two things that came back was can't use Wi-Fi and they don't understand English. This was taken up again by the Nichan chat boards, which you have to understand. These are mostly right-wing, shut-ins who are not the sort of go out there and make a gaijin friend type people. So there was the comment responses to the survey results that free Wi-Fi is insufficient and people don't understand English. 仕方ないよね. Well, can't be helped, can it? 何しに来てんだよ? What the hell are they coming here for? They're expecting Wi-Fi in English. Seriously. The next person is asking, why would they even think that they would be able to get by here with English? So they're kind of responding back. The next person is actually saying, その言葉の最低限必要になりそうな言葉ぐらい覚えてこいやって. This person is saying with a bit of a Kansai slang twinge to it that, hey, you want to come to a country, learn the bare minimum lingo before you come here. These people probably don't do that, and they don't travel, and they'll say they won't because they don't speak English. A lot of Japanese will say that. I don't speak English, that's why I don't want to travel. But these people are imposing that on tourists who are coming in. The next person is saying, 日本語を勉強してくるか、通訳を通え. So they're saying, use a translator or study Japanese before you come. Which, no, people want tourists to come. The whole tourism agency is trying to get that in. The next person, oh, they don't understand English, do they? Go home. The next person is spelling out, this is Japan. Oh, it's a Sparta, I guess. It's kind of, so yes, they're basically very, very, they're trolling pretty hard on the whining tourists, but there again, the government is backing it. I do find the comments funny. It's funny, there is this idea of Japanese having no sense of humor. I read the Nichan things, and granted, this is the lowest rank of humor and people in society, but they do actually have a sense of humor. I laugh at this. I think it's horrible, and I disagree with most of it, but it's funny. It's funny, and I feel relieved to know that there are Japanese people who have the sense of humor. There's a lot of hate, but there's a lot of humor that can be found in hate. I seem to have a whole stream of Itai news channels. Here's another one. The Democratic Party, which basically, I've been through this before. The reason that they got voted out was they gave everybody the hope that we could avoid tax increases by they would come and whip this out of control, bureaucracy that's wasting all of our tax money on needless public works projects that are just, for kickbacks for small hometown politicians and rural areas and stuff like that. And they were going to come in and break up that whole system of money politics based on bureaucratic corruption by calling the bureaucrats into public gymnasiums with TV cameras on, and they were going to slash their budgets publicly, and in exchange for that they would be able to delay the sales tax increase. And that was the manifesto promise of the Democrats that got them elected in a landslide, that they were going to do this. And they started doing it for a year, and the backlash was so intense within government that basically there were a couple of scandals that were triggered against the ringleaders who were behind this policy, and when they were ousted, the people who were remaining said, you know what, we're going to stop the budget cuts, you get all your budget, and we're going to increase the tax, and we're very, very sorry. And everyone got so disappointed and pissed off with the Democrats that the Democrats have been destroyed as a result of that, and they haven't ever apologized. The same people are still in charge, and everyone's pretty much lost faith in them as being any sort of meaningful alternative to the government. Funny story, well, they've just formed, the Democrats formed a new party, the Democratic Innovation Party, although they are thinking about taking the Innovation part out because it sounds a little bit weird, but they joined with the Innovation Party, and they formed the Democrats, and the Innovation Party joined the Democratic Innovation Party to be the main opposition party from this week. And they said that they are going to give a $500 increase per month to all child caregivers, and they're going to fund it through cutting of public works projects. And again, immediately, I mean, this is where I agree with the Nichan, it's completely, and this is what the public thinks. I mean, this is actually very much capturing what the public thinks on this issue. And all of these people are kind of the first person, is that what you were going to do? So they're bringing back the public budget slashing committee, are they? And again, the Yudake Sagi, these are con artists that just trick you by saying it. And basically, the person is saying, so is anyone going to actually trust them to do it again after they completely lied about it last time when they went back on it? And basically, everyone's just coming back and calling them incompetent liars and, fool me once, but they're actually using the exact same line promise for, it's an empty campaign promise. And Herb Toko, yes, you did. Would it be good? I'm not sure it'd be good. I'm sure you just look around and you'd see like crew everywhere, which would, you know what, it might actually put you in the same position that Bueno was talking about on the 2.5 Oyaji position. That'd be really hard to like get into it. When you look around, you can see the entire crew watching you and looking at you kind of strange. That would be, maybe, it depends on how they shoot. Yeah, I shoot the video. Never mind, we're digressing. Let's get back into the topics. There's been an urban myth that's been going around Tohoku after the Great East Japan earthquake, that there were foreign exchange students of all people, not workers, not foreign training program people, but school students from Korea and China that were due to their bad manners and behavior resulted in the shutting down of some of the evacuation centers. And this has kind of gone around, and there's a really detailed analysis in Japanese of what the basis of this kind of urban myth that's going around that most people up there seem to believe. And it comes down to that there were apparently there were a lot of refugee foreign exchange students. The Tohoku, the region that was affected by the quake and the tsunami, had a lot of exchange students apparently, and they couldn't immediately go home. And this person has actually done some research to go through. They've interviewed a lot of people. It's very long, it's in Japanese, but if you can read it, it's really interesting to read, because there were a lot of elderly people who were very uncomfortable hearing, people speaking foreign languages, hearing them speak Korean and Chinese, in these public gymnasiums where they were sharing these evacuation spaces, and they didn't want them speaking foreign languages because they were worried that they were planning something against them. And I find it kind of touching that Japan has exactly the same sort of rednecks being redneck, racist and uncomfortable in exactly the same way as rednecks in New Zealand or Australia or America, that they're afraid of those Chinese people speaking Chinese because they're probably planning to rob them blind in their sleep, and that's what they thought. And it was based on their own racism that they asked for them to be removed, and they shut down these sort of centers. It wasn't that they actually did anything, it was just that they were suspicious of Koreans and Chinese, which I know is terribly ironic, because in parts of America that would react the same way. They would treat Japanese the same as that. Yes, but I didn't know a lot about it, but I have heard of this, and apparently, yeah, so it was kind of serious. And yeah, it actually has built up into a thing that there were like foreigners caused a lot of trouble after this. And you have to remember there was a 1923 Kanto earthquake, where similar rumors about Korean people after the 1923 earthquake resulted in pretty large-scale massacres of foreigners. There were the vigilante groups formed and started killing all the Koreans in 1923. And it was based, it started out the same way as this. Fortunately, it didn't become the same thing as that, but it's a flaw in the human condition. This isn't a Japanese problem, but it's interesting that it really did come out, unfortunately, and it's still there. The suspicion of those rumors, have gone out. So, yes, I'm going to go a little bit long tonight, obviously, so check that out. That very good-looking hairstyle man who... the other half of What's Up Asia, there he is on TV, live broadcast TV, Voice of America, as a correspondent, talking about the latest in North Korea. He's on like Nigerian TV, he's like on America Worldwide Broadcast Satellite TV as a correspondent. He's like kicking ass. He's back in America, and he is the rock star. Awesome stuff. He is not actually Steve Miller Band, but you can see all the other people there. Cool dude. He's just like kicking ass. Good to see you, Mr. Steve Miller, kicking ass there, back in America. I'm going to talk about this one. Koryo Tours. It appears this person went on a 10-day tour of North Korea, and for no extra charge is going to get in-depth living and working for 15 extra years free. Based on what? This American tourist who went on, there's only one tour company which you can get into North Korea. You have to go to Beijing, you have to book it from Beijing, and you fly from Beijing into North Korea because they have relations. It's called Koryo Tours, and you can look it up online, KORYOTOURS. And if you want to go and visit North Korea and you want to go and see all the big statues and have a minder and experience the Stalinist kind of playland, you can do it through this tour company. The problem with this tour company is that in recent months, how many people, there's been a number of people who have been arrested while being on these tours for like stupid stuff, just like some veterans of the Korean War. When they found out that they were veterans of the Korean War, they arrested them randomly. Some of those people are still in jail there, by the way, as well. America and North Korea have been having some bad relations lately because they've just increased the sanctions against North Korea, and this person thought it'd be a great time to go to North Korea. And the story is that he has confessed to, but I wouldn't take that seriously. I think the confession was probably him just signing whatever he thought he had to sign to get the hell out of the country. But they said that he, in the middle of on New Year's Eve, he took down a poster, a propaganda poster within the hotel where he was staying. One would imagine perhaps as a souvenir, he wanted to take home a North Korean poster, as a souvenir. A bit of a stupid thing to do, but not that much harm. He was charged with sedition for trying to harm the unified spirit of the Korean people by removing the necessary propaganda poster that is there holding the fabric of society together. It's not the property crime, it's the crime of trying to damage the morale of the people, the North Koreans working in the hotel. That he was charged with sedition and sentenced accordingly to 15 years hard labor in a North Korean prison camp. Why in the hell would you want to be a tourist going? I mean, seriously. Here's the thing, I wrote about this week. If you were, there have been similar things to this happening in China and in Russia, where they just randomly arrest foreign people and they make them confess to all sorts of shit. And yeah, they would actually, apparently there is a video, of it, but again, the video, there's a lot of things wrong with the video as well. Even where China has arrested some NGO workers, for example, and they've made them confess on TV that yes, I was working against the interests of China and I'm engaging in espionage, and you know what's happening. You know that they've detained them, they've made them scared that they could be in detention and lost to the world for the rest of their lives, and so they agree to say whatever the Chinese want them to say, in order to get out. The Russians do the same thing, but the point is with China and with Russia and with these other horrible dictatorships, is that you go along and you give the confession, you give them what they want, and they'll let you go, pretty much. That seems to be the deal. With only two places I'm aware of where you do the televised confession, that you read out the televised confession, and that they ask you to do in exchange for a lenient sentence, and then they still screw you over 100% anyway. There's only two: North Korea and the Islamic State. The Islamic State, you read out the full, screw you America, I really feel betrayed, and then they do that anyway, right? North Korea is the same thing. It's only North Korea and Islamic State, and it seems to me about as logical going on a tour to North Korea as it is to Islamic State, given that they've arrested how many tourists. And this isn't even including the South Korean tourist that was shot at that joint run resort like a couple of years ago, that was shot and killed by a guard because she went sightseeing just on the other side of the fence on the beach. This is a country that just randomly they're having bad relations with America. Hey, let's just grab a tourist and make him confess to stealing a poster and sentence him to 15 years hard labor in a North Korean prison camp. That's a really good idea. And then he does a crying confession, and that crying confession was, that shit was serious. He was crying because I can imagine he's been probably pretty traumatized by the whole thing, and they sentenced him to 15 years hard labor anyway. So two opinions on that. One, I mean, if this isn't the way that a terrorist state acts, America took North Korea off the terrorist state list about 2 years ago. It was something North Korea really, really wanted, because their diplomats, when they were going to the United Nations, could be stopped and strip searched, which doesn't happen to most diplomats, but it was happening to the North Koreans because they were listed as a terrorist state going into America. If this isn't a terrorist state, then what is, right? They're acting, to me, they're acting just the same. Would you go, I do understand, I appreciate that it's kind of interesting to go into North Korea. I'm just going to, give me a sec, I'm going to change the battery setting on that, because I don't want that dropping out every 10 seconds. I get wanting to go and see North Korea. I'm kind of interested in it myself. I went to the North Korean restaurant in Dalian. It was cool. But just for the sake of wanting to go and see North Korea, would you put yourself at that sort of risk? I mean, you might as well be going on a tour of Islamic State, where like a certain percentage now, like 2% of the people who go on these tours, will be randomly arrested and subject to either execution or, 15 years of hard labor. That's effectively a life sentence. You think this person's, 21 years old? He's going to be there till he's 36, doing hard labor. He's going to miss marriage age, work age. He's going to come back, having lost most of his life. Insane, but that's North Korea, and we like to laugh at them, but crap, they're real people. They're getting affected, and that's just insane that's happening. That's it's not much better than killing the guy, frankly. And for what? For a poster. It's insane. What did Kit say? Kit said something funny. I need to see something funny. That's right. North Korea is the Kanye West of the world. Exactly. Drop the mic. Walk away. Yeah, I'm gonna let you finish. But dude here took a poster, 15 years hard labor. Screw you. That's exactly what it is. Don't steal posters, by the way. That's another good thing. Although, frankly, we don't know that he even actually did it, frankly. New textbooks were released this week, and as usual, everybody's pissed off. South Korea actually wants Japan to take control and to take responsibility for making Japan's textbooks compatible with South Korean rules on what history textbooks should be. The usual stuff. They said that Dokdo Takeshima is Japanese territory, which of course is the Japanese government position that have consistently maintained ever since Korea took the island, took the rocks in 1953. And Japan maintains that there's a legitimate dispute. Korea says that there's no dispute, and you're not allowed to even say that there's a dispute, and we're going to get very, very angry about that if you do that, which is BS. They can't make it go away by getting extremely angry every time that Japan says that. No, there actually is a dispute. Same with Russia, same with China. Everyone knows about that. The government has made some... they're trying to unify and make a little bit more, I guess you could say, patriotic, where the government has decided that there's a debate or a certain line on things. Another thing I just mentioned, the 1923 Great Kanto earthquake, where the Koreans were massacred. There was a textbook that said that over 6,000 Koreans were massacred, but apparently there's no official recognized number to the massacre. So they were forced to actually rewrite the textbook and say lots. Which looks like a watering down, and that probably would have upset as well. But anyway, it's kind of interesting, so you can read about that. Swag time. I showed some of this stuff on 2.5 Oyajis last night with Hikosaemon if you missed it. So what we're going to do at the Hanami, which starts 10 a.m. Yogi Park. It's on Facebook on April 2. Last year we just did a bunch of junken for t-shirts, and junken is efficient. You get a result quickly. I get it, but at the same time, there are heaps of stickers and stuff, YouTube like stickers and swag, which I've actually got from previous events that I forgot to give out, so I'll be giving these out just randomly. That's fine. But we have, of course, YouTube t-shirts, and YouTube very kindly donated these, so thank you, YouTube people. And we have more stickers and stuff, but we also have these. I got one of these myself now. I'm using it at home and drinking out of. Bada boom! We have YouTube cups, mugs, and these are really good actually. We got a bunch of other stuff here. Let me show you. We've got YouTube creator community. That's partly to promote this. They've got a bunch of cards and stuff like this and stickers and stuff, but lots of cool swag. I've got a few bags worth of this stuff. I'll be bringing this to the Hanami, and we were talking about this last night, and I've decided that what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a beat, probably about 110 BPM. I'm going to have like a metronome at the party, and we're going to have 3 contests. We're going to have contests for the swag, and the contests are going to be, there's going to be a dance contest, just short dancing, but it'll be to a specific beat. So the whole idea is that you can record it and put music to it, which I'll get the Tokyo Digital crew guys and anyone else who wants to actually make music for it. You'll be able to make music to go with it later on. It'll be on a fixed BPM. Dance competition, karaoke competition, a cappella, sing for the shirt, and we should do it like on contests. It should be like a 30 seconds American Idol style, battling to get swag. So there will be. I did hear about Freestyle Fox, but this came up earlier actually. Yes, I did hear about Charlotte getting engaged. And congratulations to her. I hear he's an awesome dude. So yes, there'll be singing, a cappella singing competition. There'll be rapping competitions. You just have to do a couple of lines because again, you'll be able to record and put it all together, and it'll be on the same BPM. And dancing, and there will be alcohol, and it'll be in a park, so it should totally work out. Plus, indeed, I'll be DJ Hiko Khalid. I've actually had like a Kurdish DJ complain that DJ Hiko, stop using that name. It's my name. I'm Kurdish. I'm like, well, don't kick my ass, please, and I'm in a different country and screw. But yes, it's going to be awesome. And what I think would be an awesome idea is that, yes, we'll give you the 110 BPM so everyone can just record it and make their own videos of it. But at the same time, myself and other people, we can make music 110 BPM, and we can make background music, and you can have your dance, rap, singing compilations. It should be pretty awesome. Plus, I mean, I'll sing like anything a cappella, especially if we're drinking. So that is the idea. Execution is always kind of difficult, but yes. But this is the whole thing. So I'll just do like a metronome. So it'll just be like dun, 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 and we'll just do that when we are there. And yeah, and then people will be able to make music like Tai Nakamura. You'll be able to make music where you are, and we can upload all the music and say this is 110 BPM. You can use it for your version of this. You can make remixes of it, and we can actually have a competition amongst ourselves who made the best background music for the dance competition, for example. It will be awesome. So that is going to be good. We've got lots of swag, and we're gonna have awesome competitions to get to it. And yes, I am making international enemies. I read a great quote by Bill Murray. Going around on Twitter the other day, if video gaming has taught me anything, it's that if you keep running into enemies, you're going in the right direction. I like that, and that's very true. Took this photo today. That is from Shinjuku Goen. Hanami's rocking, dude. It started already. Hopefully it's going to keep going until we actually have the Hanami, and it won't be finished by then. We might have to look around to find the tree by that point. But that is good. A couple of other things on my Facebook. This is why you should follow my Facebook. A video. Yeah, I should talk about this. There's a video of people sleep. There's a compilation of people, Japanese people, sleeping on trains. Japanese people sleep on trains. I sleep on trains on long commutes. You know, sometimes you've got no choice. Shooting this video is really not cool, and I felt super uncomfortable watching this at first. Megan, yeah, we can do it. We can do a duet. I'll duet with you. We will have drinks in us. It'll be okay. One, never shoot or take videos on a train. It's really, really bad form. Don't do it. This person did it, and since they've done it, I've been here for 17 years. This is something I see every day. So I shared this video because this shares something that you can't share, because it doesn't. People who upload videos like this get stalked and hunted, and their lives are ruined, and that's why you should not make a video like this yourself under any circumstance. But someone did. I assume they're living in Antarctica now, and it's actually, and they show the different types of sleepers. The sleepers who like drift off to the side, and sometimes they rest on your shoulder, and the people who like fall forward, and the people who are like, and they're getting up at just the right moment. It's actually, so it's kind of, for me, it's very familiar with my everyday, especially when I was living out in the suburbs. But don't do it. The other thing is another enjoy, but don't do it. If you ever want to understand the mentality of why tattoos are banned in Japan, it doesn't make any sense. This video is of course exaggerated. It's a comedy skit, but it shows to me perfectly. This is exactly an exaggerated demonstration of the mentality of tattoos in onsen or saunas in Japan and why they're banned. And it's kind of funny because I actually saw pro-tattoo people in the comments of this saying, well, you know, I'm not gangsters like them. But the whole thing is that it's not said anywhere in the skit that these people are gangsters. They're acting like gangsters. They look like gangsters, but the whole thing is that they look like gangsters because they have the tattoos. You know, they're strutting around and kind of being scary and stuff. But that's the whole thing, is that, you know, this is why if you have tattoos, you just, even pro-tattoo people were inferring that these people are playing the role of gangsters. But this is the whole thing. This is how you look when you have tattoos in Japan. It is good that the government is actually promoting that onsens should give foreigners a break on this stuff. But if you know, for all these people who say this is just kind of pointless stuff, have a look at this, because this is a great video just to highlight the culture of how tattoos appear to Japanese people, and it's just funny. It's really good. So follow my I mean, all my stuff is public. You don't actually even have to follow me on Facebook to see the stuff. You can see the link from my Flipboard Magazine, but just follow me on Facebook. Honestly, I'm cool, you know. So that was fun. And I've been looking at this. I want to get one of these. I'm just thinking, I'm obsessing over this lately about getting a 3-axis electronic gimbal stabilizer. I've talked with some people that there are some dodgy ones, and it's a bit mixed. I know that Dave Powell from Shoot Tokyo, he got the DJI Osmo one, DJI Osmo, which is like really, really expensive. It's like $800. These things are like $200-300. You can pick them up. And I've seen some video and they look really, really good, so I'm thinking about that. But anyway, that is it. That is it. That is the show. We're over time anyway. I guess we had the power outage, we had all this other stuff. Should I make a track? I'll tell you what, I'm going to make a track because 110 BPM. So this is going to be, I've decided, it's going to be 110 BPM. And I'm going to make a dance track for the party. So yes, tell me if you like this. But this is a challenge, and this is especially all the digital crew members, Tokyo Digital crew members, but to anybody else there who is into making music. You don't have to be part of our setup, although anyone is welcome to join. But let me quickly set up this. Oh. And put that there. And how do I do this? Well, I'll just put that there like that. And in fact, that is not working, so I put that like maybe more like that. And oh. Why is that moving so easily? Stop moving so easily. Okay, so I'm just going to randomly put something together and say goodnight to you all, so have a good one. It's an odd angle, but that'll be alright. So yeah, follow me on Facebook for all that good stuff, and here's an outro, a random outro that I'm going to make live. So have a good night, and Megan, I will see you at the Hanami, and we're going to sing together. We're going to do it. It's going to be awesome. So you see that down the bottom? That is 110 BPM. Let's add some drums. Okay, let's add some more drums. Let's go for some crazy hi-hats. Some bass. Oh, got some leg in there. That's kind of good. Yes. They're not smooth, trust me. Try to find something interesting here. That's the show. It's pretty good, actually. It came out surprisingly well. I don't know how that came out so well. But there you go. It's 110 BPM. That's what it's going to be for the party. Have a good night, everyone. Stay cool. Till after school. Kai kite. And have a good night. See you next week. Don't forget, actually this Wednesday I'm going to do a 17th anniversary reflection video at some point this week, so look out for that. I'm going to try to make another Japanese video. That was kind of cool. I was actually quite surprised with that. I'm going to save that and maybe do something with that later. See you all again next week. Every Sunday, Tokyo Tonight, and next Saturday is going to be my turn to do 2.5 Oyajis, so be around. And see you later. Hope you enjoyed the show, and sorry for the technical problems, and peace. Boom. Out. Good night, everyone. Don't look at my legs. Don't look at my legs. Don't do that. Don't go there. Don't need to be seen.